Welcome to the Daily, presented by EA Sports FIFA 12 with Greg Lawless. I'm Jason Seguini. Today's Monday, October 10th. Short weekend of MLS action, Greg, but some big games, including the Philadelphia Union taking on the Seattle Sounders. They get the win. They move into first place in the East.
Yeah, the first win for the Philadelphia Union as a franchise on the West Coast. They go to CenturyLink and they get a 2-0 win thanks to goals from Freddie Adu and Brian Carroll. Carroll's first goal of the year, actually, for the Union. It was Freddie's second one. A nice goal from Freddie on that one. But you know what? This was a good performance by Philadelphia all around, I felt. Defensively, they looked good. Sebastian Letou was still the motor up top, moving around. And even though Mondragon didn't come in goal the way we suspected last week, Zach McMath had a good, decent game in there as well. On the other side, the Sounders were tired and clearly on sort of a, on that post-U.S. Open Cup dip, let's say. We talked about how were they going to push for the Supporters' Shield to put some pressure on L.A. It seemed as if, based on the lineup that Ziggy Schmidt put out there, he was going to give some guys some rest and prepare for the playoffs.
Yeah, they played that game without Freddie Montero, who was suspended. Rosales still not back from that MCL injury, and also Alvaro Fernandez on the bench. So Seattle did not have a lot in the attack in that game. As a result of that game, the LA Galaxy now are the Supporters' Shield champions. A little anticlimactic to not do it on the field, but they'll take it. Yeah,
of course they're going to take it. A second year in a row now winning the Supporters' Shield. Now the question is, can Bruce Arena put it together in the playoffs and make a run at MLS Cup?
There was another MLS game this weekend. That was the San Jose Earthquakes traveling out to the New England Revolution. And the big story here, I think, is the chase for the Golden Boot. Chris Wondolowski puts 2 on the board.
Yeah, he does. And you know what, Jason? Look, this is a team, San Jose, that obviously know they're going to go through a lot of changes in the offseason, as will the New England Revolution. But Wondolowski, no changes there. Same old thing from Wando, and he gets a great goal early on a ball from the goalkeeper, Bingham. David Bingham fires it from his own net and ends up dropping down to Wondolowski. Beautiful first touch and a great finish in that one. And you know what? He's put some pressure on. He's now tied with Thierry Henry and Dwayne De Rosario at 14 goals for the lead in the Golden Boot race. It's going to be very exciting down the stretch to see who comes out on top. I think you have to give the nod to De Rosario because he has 4 games left as opposed to everyone else who has 2.
All right, well, it was a short weekend in MLS action because the U.S. national team was playing on Saturday. They played against Honduras, and they got a victory. This is Jurgen Klinsmann's first victory as a national team coach.
Yeah, Clint Dempsey with a really nice goal to put it away 1-0. Tim Howard had a terrific game in goal for the U.S. in this one. I thought that Breck Shea had a very nice game for the U.S., although he did miss a sitter in the second half that he needs to put away. Oguchi Onyewu made his return to the U.S. national team, his first appearance under Klinsmann, and he also had a sitter that he missed. But overall, I think the U.S. had a pretty good performance in this one.
Yeah, it was a good performance. I think by the end of it, it could have been 4 or 5-0 the U.S., but they weren't finishing.
Yeah, but at the same time, Honduras actually had a couple of chances to put it away too. They were putting some pressure on in the second half, and that back line, they bent and bent, but they didn't break, and that's the key.
Okay, speaking of U.S. soccer, this is actually the start of referee week here at MLSsoccer.com. Why don't you let the fans know a little about what's coming?
Well, we've been talking all season long about the refereeing. It seems like a lot of people have been talking about it. So we thought here at MLSsoccer.com we'd open up a frank discussion about it, really take a look at what's going on. We're going to have interviews with referees, some of the officials from U.S. Soccer and at MLS about what's being done to improve refereeing. We're also going to look at some of the more controversial calls from 2011, get some takes from referees and our own sort of refereeing guru, Paul Tamburino, a former MLS and international referee, to say, here's why this call was made the way it was.
All right, and today also is the first part of a feature we did behind the scenes with Mark Geiger ahead of the big Portland-Vancouver matchup when Vancouver opened their stadium, so you can see that later on MLSsoccer.com. And we should also mention, Greg, there's a contest if the fans want to win a trip to MLS Cup, one of 10 trips to MLS Cup. El Jimador is looking to send them there.
Yeah, and all that means go to their Facebook page, facebook.com/El Jimador. Click on the Your Rule, Your Shot tab there and give us a 100% real soccer fan rule. What do you think a soccer fan here in the United States needs to follow? Here, I got one for you right now. Go ahead and complain about a call. But don't complain about refereeing in general. Refereeing is the same all around the world. Bad calls happen, good calls happen. That's just the way it is.
All right, Greg, I've heard you make a couple rules. I wonder if you're eligible to win. All right, one more thing I want to mention. You can get Extra Time Radio on iTunes or Buzzsprout later on today. Also, stay tuned to MLSsoccer.com as we build up to the U.S.-Ecuador game tomorrow night. We'll be back on The Daily tomorrow.